Welcome to Okichitaw. I'm Sonny Robbins, the instructor for the Barrie location. So today we're going to work on our rolls a little bit, and then we're going to go into some of the one-step techniques, some of the restraint techniques, a couple of the wrestling techniques. We're only going to do a few of each. You can find those techniques all on our DVDs, which I'll put a link up at the end of the video. But first we just want to make sure everybody's got some of the basics down. So one of the most important things, one of the main basic things we have in Okichitaw is our rolls, and that's like any martial art, right? So you have your standard combat rolls, front, backwards, and we have a side roll. So we're going to go through all three of them. We're going to show you things you can do. You can even do some stuff out on the grass and train. But it's just about learning to make sure that you're rolling the right way, using the right parts of your body, so that way you're doing it in a safe way. All right, so first, Cedric, I'll get you to kind of just come over here. So when we do our front rolls, okay, we usually start on all fours. So when we're teaching kids, we like to start right down on the ground. So the idea is, I'll tell the children to go down on all fours, and then what I'm going to get them to do is slide his right arm under his left arm, which you'll see drops his shoulder, right? And then from that point, I just tell them to push off, right? And you'll see they'll just simply go over the shoulder. It doesn't have to be a fantastic roll. It's just about learning where your body needs to be going. You don't want to be going straight over the head. You can hurt your spine, your neck, things like that, okay? So the next step is you start coming off of your knees onto one knee, okay? So now you're going to do the same type of thing. Your hand's going to go down, your arm's going to go under, you're going to push off, and you're going to roll, okay? Same idea, right? So once you start getting more comfortable with that, then you start from a standing position. So from a standing position, it's no different. You're going to come into it, you're going to put your hand down, your arm's going to go underneath, and you're going to push off and roll. So it's the exact same technique each way, it's just a different starting point. So do it when you're ready, make your way up through the different ways. So again, do it again. You'll notice as he comes into his roll, his one arm goes down, arm tucks under, and he comes back up into a fighting position, okay? So it's very basic, it's very easy. Like I said, just go slow, start from the basic position where you're down on the ground, right? And just remember, when you tuck your arm, doesn't matter which way, but when you tuck your arm, you'll notice your whole body automatically wants to lean to that position, right? And then all you're doing is pushing off, okay? Start up to a knee, same thing, right? Same thing, either knee, doesn't matter, just as long as you're getting that motion, and then from standing. All right? The next thing we're going to do is a back roll. So, Shane, I'll get you to do the back roll for the first one. So just sitting down, feet out in front of you. Okay, so when we teach our kids how to do the back rolls starting from the beginning, it's just a bit of momentum and getting over a shoulder. So same thing with your front roll. Your back roll, you want to make sure you're going over your shoulder, not straight over your neck. So when we're teaching the kids, what we do is we get them to sit there, we get them to rock a bit, we get them to lean forward, and then just push back and over one of the shoulders. Okay? Doesn't have to be super clean. You know, sometimes you see the kids, they'll throw themselves back and do one of these. It's fine. The point is to get them over their shoulder so they're not using their neck. The neck, you're going to get seriously hurt. You get real stiff if you just go over it even just a slight little bit, right? So again, same thing. Lean forward, push back, over the shoulder, and then you're up, okay? Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start from one knee. So you're going to have one knee down, okay? And then same thing, you're going to kick your leg back behind you, sit back on your butt, and over your shoulder, okay? And then again, progression, the next thing you'll do is you'll stand up, and then you're going to go into that same position. So you drop your leg, back, and over, okay? Again, take your time with this. It's very basic rolling, but it's about doing it safe, okay? We want to make sure everybody's doing this right so that they don't get hurt, especially if you're going to do it outside, grass, things like that. They're not as forgiving as our foam floors. So just take your time, don't rush anything, make sure you're doing it properly, and you'll be okay. The next one we're going to show is just a side roll. So just come here on the floor on all four. Okay, so a side roll in Okichitaw, you'd think that you're just going to flop to your side and roll sideways, but it's not. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to prop your body, and just like your front roll where your arm tucks underneath the other arm, you're going to do the same thing. Now the shoulder that drops is actually the direction you're going to go. So the arm that you're pushing under is the direction you're going to roll to. So as he goes, he's going to drop, roll to the side, and back up. Okay? You need to do this from a push-up position. Okay? And then arm drops, you do your side roll and back up. The reason for this, and I'll show you right now, is in Okichitaw we use weapons. So if he has a knife in his hand, it's a lot safer for him to put it past his body and then do the roll where he can come up and strike with the knife. So switch ends. All right, so that's why. So one of the things that we do teach, and I'll show you here, is when you're actually doing your side rolls, you want to make sure your blade is flat. So you don't want to, especially if you have a dagger, you don't want it pointing straight up and down, because if somebody lands on you, you can cut yourself. So if you're here and you're in push-up position or on your knees, doesn't matter. When you're sliding the knife through, you don't want to just push it straight through. You want to turn it sideways, right? Either way, it doesn't matter. So that way if somebody comes and pushes you on it, you're landing on the flat part of the blade. So as you come, you're going to push it through sideways, and then you can come up and strike, right? So just keep that in mind. Like I said, you don't want to come straight up on the blade. So there's a drill that you can do with the knife or with a stick or anything outside in the grass, and it's our side roll drill. So the idea is you have a target on either side of you. You have to take your blade from one side, do your rolls, stick it in the ground, and the target on the other side. Okay? So for this drill with people, when we do it in class, you have two people on either side. We're acting as Mother Earth. So I'm going to hold the blade. He's going to grab the blade with the arm closest. Yep. With the arm closest, prop up, come around, and stab it in the target. Then he's going to switch arms. Closest arm grabs, roll, target. Again. Okay. Now you can do this outside. You can just make targets. You can do anything you want. You don't even need a target. You can just do it into the grass, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Okay. And then the idea is as you keep going, you can kind of start making your targets a little smaller. So now he's got to do more of a spin while he's doing his roll to get to the target with it overshooting. Okay. So that's the same drill that you can do with the other weapons as well. It's important to start with the knife. It's just easy to get used to the movement, things like that. But just make sure you're doing a couple things, okay? So when you're doing this, there's a couple things that you need to pay attention to. Start on your back. So as he comes towards me, he'll prop up on his elbow, and then the knife slides underneath as you continue your roll. Make sure you prop up on that elbow. Okay? So again, come closer to the middle. Okay? So as he starts rolling, up onto his elbow, you got to prop up here. If you don't prop up, you don't allow the space to get underneath. Okay? So prop up, continue your roll, comes over, and then you go into your target. Okay? Just remember that simple thing. You got to make sure you have that little prop up, otherwise you're not going to have the space to clear with the weapon, and you're going to get all caught up on yourself. Okay? Like I said, you can do that same rolling drill with the tomahawks, with the gunstock bore clubs, but take your time, make sure you get good at one. If you're going to do it with a gunstock bore club or a tomahawk, make sure you have a trainer, just so you don't cut yourself. It can get a little more difficult with the bigger weapons because there's more you get hung up. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to start doing some of our restraint escapes. Our restraint escapes are just simple escapes from grabs that might be being done to you. Usually the more simple ones start with wrist grabs, things like that, end up going into grabbing your shoulder, choking you, things of natures like that. The idea is if somebody's grabbing your wrist or your shoulder, the way that we would do it based off of our weapons and based off of the other techniques that we use in our other forms of the martial art. So the first one we're going to show you is just the first, number one for restraints. It's the same arm grab. So same hands grabbing the same arm, right? No cross, same arm, same wrist. So all he's going to do is he's going to step forward with the left foot, pull out to his shoulder, and then strike back. Okay? So again, step forward, pull out and back. Okay? So he's grabbing, okay? Same side. The same side foot that he's grabbing is the one that's going to step across. Okay? When you step across, don't step across your body. You want to step on a 45-degree angle towards his body. And at the same time you're doing the step, you want to bring your hand up to your shoulder. So if I don't have a weapon, the idea is the top of my hand I want to bring to my shoulder. If I do have a weapon, the idea is the top of my hand I want to bring past my shoulder. Okay? So the idea is grabbing, step forward, pull across, and then you can strike. Either elbow or hammer fist backwards. Okay? So do it again. Okay. Just step over this way. Just so you're more centered. Okay, so again, steps across and strikes. Same thing's done on the other side. So if he's grabbing the other wrist, same thing, exact same thing is done. So again. Good. Okay. So the next one is from behind. So same wrist from behind. Okay. The idea is if he's grabbing the same wrist behind you, he's directly behind you. So you kind of know where he is based off of the arm that's grabbing. Okay. If somebody ever grabs you, you want to take a quick look and make sure you can see where he is behind you, so you know where to strike. Okay. So as he has you, the first thing you're going to do is take a little step back, and the elbow comes up. Okay? And then as you step around, you can strike. Okay? So again, you want to close any gaps, so strike, and then across. Okay? Okay? So it depends on how far he is, right? If he's this far away from you, right, you need to clear that gap, because if you just throw your elbow up, you're not near anything, right? The idea is you have to close that little bit of a gap and then turn and strike. Okay? If the person's right up on you, then you know when you take your glance that he's right behind you, and you just got to lift your elbow up and come across. Okay? So same thing's done with the other side. Elbow up. Strike. So the next one we're going to show you is wrist to wrist, but cross grab. Just one hand. Okay, so just wrist to wrist, one hand, but it's cross arms now. It's opposite arms. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to rotate your hand to the outside of his arm, and you're going to twist your hand back towards him so you can grab onto his forearm. Okay, so grab. Okay, so you're going to pull. See how his wrist is bending, and then you're going to turn your wrist so you can go towards his forearm. Push up on his elbow, which will block his vision, and then you can strike. Okay? Okay, so nice and slow. So turn the wrist onto the forearm, push up on the elbow, strike. Same thing with the other side. Time. Alright, we're going to do one more of the restraints. So now we're going to do reverse grab, but now he's going to do cross. So the first time he did the same grab, and he was directly behind me. Now that he's doing a cross grab, the opposite arm, he's actually off to the side. So when I do my first glance, I can see where he is. Right? So the idea now is you're going to do the same kind of movement, but because of where he is, you can step past him, which can bring you into a different strike. So what you're going to do is you're going to look, see that he grabbed you, see where he is, step back, elbow. So see, notice my foot, my left foot is going to step past him, and then come with the elbow. Okay? So again, grabs, hit, elbow, step two, okay? The difference from the single grab, let's do the other hand, is because of where he is, I can't step past him, right? I have to turn in front of him. When it's the reverse grip, the opposite grip, I can step past him, which allows me to come for an elbow versus a regular strike, okay? Okay. So you can do all these on your own. It does benefit you if you have a partner grabbing you, but as long as you're just thinking of the fact that somebody's grabbing your right wrist, that you're making those movements, then you're fine, right? You don't need a partner. It's just beneficial if you have it. So if you have a little brother or sister at home that has been driving you nuts, go grab them and do some Okichitaw with them. Okay. Same thing with the back ones. You can still think, make that movement, right? You can do it all by yourself. It's just a matter of learning the movements that go along with the technique. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is some of our one-step defensive techniques. These techniques are just based off of blocking a strike that's coming towards you and moving into a technique. Okay? So, for example, our first one-step technique, punch comes, and more centered. Punch comes, you're going to step out to the side, block, punch to the ribs, kick, and drag the person down. Okay? Okay? Real simple. I'm going to break it down for you right now, but these are the kinds of techniques that we're going to be working on right now. Okay? So the punch is going to come. So I'm going to start with my right foot forward, right? Punch comes, step out to the side, right? Out to the left side. Block with the back of your arm, always with the back of your arm in Okichitaw, right? Block, punch the side, kick the leg, and drag down. Okay? Again, punch comes, step to the side, block. You're going to get power from there because now your weight's all on your left foot. Now you're going to punch, kick, drag. Okay? I'll do it a couple times.
What you gotta say? It's it.
Right? Yeah.
Good. You too.
Yes. Okay, so as I said, block with the back of your arm. I've said this in other videos. The reason we block with the back of our arms, not the side or the front of our arms, is it's more meat and less vital veins and things, right? You use the back of your arm. If somebody has a knife and they pull back, it's just going to cut a lot of meat. You're going to survive, right? You use the front of your arm and you block and you cut back. You're going to cut veins. You're going to be bleeding all over the place. It's not going to be good. Okay. So the next technique we're going to do is number two. Okay. Number two is a two-handed technique. It's based off if you had a gun stock war club or a tomahawk or something along those sorts. But you can still do all of our techniques hand to hand as well as with weapons, right? So punch is going to come. You're going to block with an A block. So an A block is when your arms are basically making the letter A, right? So strike comes, block, and as you block, you're going to push it down and come around for a strike to the back. Okay? So again, punch comes, block, strike, push, kick. Okay? The idea behind this technique is when you're blocking and coming around with the weapon. Okay? It's the exact same movement you're doing. So if he had a knife, he doesn't have one, but if he did, right? Same movement, you're going to block, come around, hit, kick. Okay? Okay. The main thing to remember with this is you have to generate power. So you can't just come in, swing, and come around, because you get no power, right? The idea when you're doing the technique is as you block, you got to get momentum as you come around for the swing, okay? Otherwise, there's no power, the technique's not going to work. Okay? So number 2, punch comes. And okay, so again, you don't need to have anybody with you. If you want, you can just stand there, practice your technique, right? That's fine. All of these moves you can do by yourself. It's unfortunate if you have to. Social distancing is kind of making things difficult for all of us, but if you have to, you have to. Just remember the movements like I walked through you. So in this case, right foot forward, strike comes, A block, come down and around, rotate, and through. Okay? Push, kick. Okay? It's real easy. As long as you work your way through it, you'll be fine. Okay? The next one is number 3. So this is the last one we're going to show you today. Number 3 is a similar block to number 1, but in number 1, when you do your block, you're going straight out to the side. Right? In number 3, when you do your block, you're going to block on a 45-degree angle towards them. And the reason is you want to get close to their body. So as you block, instead of just blocking out, you're going to be blocking up. Okay, because that same block hand is going to strike. Okay, and then it comes down to a little bit of footwork, but I'm going to walk you through it really quick. So strike comes, okay, block up, strike to the side. Okay, you're going to grab his shoulders as you step forward, left knee to the back, and then you're going to drag him down, stomp on the head. Okay? So again, punch comes, 45-degree angle towards him, block up, strike, shoulders, left knee, drag down, stomp on the head. Okay? It's really important to watch your footwork, otherwise you might be in a really awkward position. Okay. So again, burst with your weight so much stuff. So when it comes in, up to the opposite side.
Okay.
Not this way.
Okay.
Not so far. Go first. Keep this foot planted. When it comes, you just
Okay.
Step this way a little bit. That way you can get his head on the saddle. Good. Okay. So those are some of our defensive techniques. We have 20 of those. Like I said, they're all on our DVDs. You can find them on Okichitaw.com. But as you get going, you get into a little bit different ones. For example, right, there's one, number 15, punch comes. You're going to block, strike, grab them, come down, kick them off to the side, and you come up and you finish. There's all kinds of more advanced techniques as we get along, but these are just some of the basic ones that we wanted to show you that you could do at home. Okay? These ones you need to have somebody with you. You need to be practicing a bit so you kind of understand some of what we're doing and be able to train in a safe way. But that's something, for example, of what you can expect in the DVDs, things like that. Okay? Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to do some of the wrestling techniques, just a couple quick escapes kind of thing. First one's going to be from side mount, then half guard, and then a full mount. And we'll just kind of go through them very quickly, but very basic. So the first one we're going to do, like I said, is side. So somebody's on one side or the other of you and they're choking you. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is put your arms above your head, like, help me, I'm choking. Right? And then you're going to clasp your hands and crush the arms, which is going to bring his head down closer to you. Then what you want to do is the hand the direction his head is going across your body. So you don't want to grab the other way. You want to be able to push his head closer to your leg. Okay, so what's going to happen is you push closer to your leg comes up around the head, bend your knee. So just like we do when we're doing our get-ups and our rolls and things like that, you're going to bend your knee into a 4 position as you're sitting up. Okay? So to see it without somebody on you, just do the 4-point get kind of thing. So as he goes to sit up, yeah. See how he bends his foot? He bends his bottom leg underneath. That's important because then as you roll up onto your knee versus them rolling onto your leg. Okay? So again, somebody's choking you. Arms go above your heads. Grab your wrists, crush the arms, push the head over, leg comes up, and there you go. Okay? Okay. I'll show again from the other side. I want to just grab another one. Just slide that down. So again, choking you, arms crush, push the head down, leg comes over, sit up, and finish out with a strike. Okay? Again, you can do this without anybody on top of you if you're just practicing the technique. Just think of somebody being in that position, arms go above your head, crush the arms, push the head, leg comes up, and up into your stance, okay? Like I said, everything can be done on your own, just make sure you learn the movements. We can train further as we go along. The next one we're going to do is a half guard. So if you're laying down, Shane can get the half guard. So half guard, what you're going to do, you're going to do the same crushing of the arms. Right? So arms go above, you crush, she's going to bring his head down. Okay? Now, the direction you want the person to roll next is what matters with which hand you use to grab his head. So if he uses his right arm to grab his head, then he's rolling him to the right. If he uses his left arm to grab his head, he's rolling him to the left. Okay? So that's really important to watch. Okay? Now we're going to roll him to the right. So what he's going to do is as he grabs and crushes, he's going to pull his head close, and the left elbow is going to strike to the head as he pushes with his hips and turns his body. Okay? Now, it has to be a simultaneous movement because the idea is the elbow to the head or the elbow to the side of the face is going to shock their brain for a second, right? So in fighting, a lot of what you have to do is quickly shock the people's brains so that you have a minute to do what you need to do. Not a minute, literally seconds or milliseconds. But it's those little shocks to the brain that allow you to kind of better your position. Okay? So in this case again, choke happens, crush, pull down, and pull down. Okay? So do it from the other direction just so they can see the elbow. So just spin right around.
Like this?
Yep. And you can go back to it. Just get on the exact same way you were before. Okay? So crush, pull. So see this elbow? As the elbow's happening, the left leg has to push, and your whole body has to turn with that elbow to get him to roll over. Okay? Again, it's not a rush. You may not work every time. The idea is you can go both ways with this one too. If you have to go the other way, you can go the other way, but it might be a little more difficult because they have a better stance on their knees to that side. So you really have to push yourself into it. But again, just crush, pull the head in, elbow, and roll and mount. Okay? Okay, so that's a couple of our wrestling techniques. The next one I'm going to show you is just a little escape we have for if somebody's in full mount on you. So Shane here is going to mount Cedric. Okay. So the idea when you're defending against a full mount opponent, the more they're sitting back on you, the harder it is to actually get them off of you by trying to throw them or use your heads, right? The moment they lean forward and go to choke you or go to punch you is when they start leaning their center of gravity forward on you, right? So what you're waiting for is for that moment where they go forward to grab you or to punch you. So what you're going to do is you're going to bend your knees, and at the same time, your hands are going to go under the person's stomach, right near where their belly button is, and you can make like a triangle or a diamond right by where their belly button is, okay? Then you're going to push with your hips, but at the same time, you have to determine which way you're going to try and throw the person, because you don't want them to go directly above you, because if you just push to go directly above you, they're going to catch themselves, okay? So the idea is you have to throw them one way or the other, not towards the sides, but actually over you one way or the other. So again, you're going to bend your hips, or bend your knees, push up with your hips, and twist your body one way or the other to push them. As you push them, you just roll with them. Okay? Once you're in this position, you just crawl up their body as much as you'd have to. So in other martial arts, you might try and be really pretty about things. In Okichitaw, we literally just crawl up their body. Knees might go in groins. We don't compete in a sense of competitions like that. It's a combat style martial art. If my knees have to go where they have to go for me to get to a certain position, that's where they're going to go. So there's one more that I'm going to show you guys, and I like to show this one especially for women, things like that. It's just a good way to get out of something. Cedric's going to be on his stomach. Okay? So it's full mount from when you're on your stomach. So Shane's going to be on his back, and he's going to be pushing his shoulders down into the ground. Okay? Now, if we go back and you remember our side rolling drill, it's no different. So the first thing Cedric's going to do, hop up onto his elbows. The next thing he's going to do is he's going to shoot. He's going to shoot his elbow under his arm underneath. So as Shane's pushing, you'll notice it drops his shoulder. So go back to the regular position, okay, and then up, and then shoot. See how it automatically dropped his position? All you have to do from that point is continue your side roll. So the elbow comes up and around, and then you just roll up on top. Okay? So again, start position. Okay. Pop up, arm under, rotate around, end up in a dominant position. Okay? So again, take your time learning these things. I don't want people to rush. I want people to take their time, follow these videos, go back if you have to numerous times, watch for little nuances. If you have questions, message me or comment on the post. I'm happy to help anytime and try and correct things. I can only do so much from a distance. But in general, just remember, all this is there for you to learn. We have other things out there, other teaching tools. Other than the few defensive techniques and things that you saw today, we have all of the techniques on our DVDs. You can purchase them at Okichitaw.com. Go to the shop button, follow through. There's a link to the DVDs that we sell. We have the first 3 DVDs are ready for purchase. The 4th one is still being finalized and put on there. But it has everything. It has all 21 step techniques, has all the restraint techniques, has our throws, has our wrestling, things like that. So go there, check it out. Once again, Okichitaw.com, and then look for the shop button and follow your way through there. All right? You betcha. Good. Here. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah! His knee went right into my soul. His knee went right into my soul. Oh my god.
All right, welcome. welcome back. Here's Cedric, just wasting time off the side. Put it in the blueberry.